So let's transition to the coaching carousel.
Okay.
And so if you're listening, if you're watching us on YouTube, hello. You can check us out on the Hockey Podcast Network for full episodes. You can check out Ken's writing, kencampbell.substack.com. You can check out our Twitters, Ken_Campbell27 _Dylan Waugh. And check out our YouTube section for clips of these episodes. You get them in 10-minute segments. And again, you can then, if you don't wish to listen to what we were just talking about, then you can skip that much more easily. So we're going to talk about the coaching carousel.
Right.
We haven't talked about really any of these, so we're going to go sort of back somewhat chronological. Martin St. Louis gets re-upped in Montreal.
Right.
Thoughts?
Good hire, obviously. I do not...
It's a little short-sighted, if you ask me.
Oh, wow. Okay. If you're going to start with the short jokes,
okay.
That's it.
Okay.
That's it. I'm out of here.
Uncle. Uncle.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I think, I don't put a ton of credibility into a team's run when they have nothing to play for and they get this new coach or they make this trade or whatever, right? You always hear it, right? Oh, the Buffalo Sabres went, 14-5-1 in their last 20 games of the season.
Yeah.
So next year they're going to be great, and they are.
The Ottawa Senators 2 years ago.
Yeah, and they are,
exactly.
and they are for the first month of the season, and then they drop off. So I don't put a ton of credibility into that, but a couple of things. They weren't that good.
Yeah.
First of all,
yeah.
Like they actually, as a team,
yeah,
in terms of results, they weren't that much better. They lost a lot of games.
Yeah. Yeah. They won 2 games in a row for their first time in the entire season.
But it appears as though, and I think this is what the important thing is that you have to have the right match of the right personality with the team and where it's going and what it's doing. And I cannot, other than John Tortorella in Philadelphia, I can't think of a better fit, than Marty St. Louis in Montreal. Yeah. Because, they've got some very, very good young talent. They're transitioning. Shane Wright or Slavkovsky or Logan Cooley or somebody is going to be their first pick overall.
Yeah.
Probably going to be Shane Wright. They're probably going to go the safe route and go Shane Wright, I would think. And so they're going to have to integrate those guys into the lineup, and those guys are going to need to be taught, because I think if we learned anything from Jack Hughes, it's that unless you're Sidney Crosby or Connor McDavid or Alex Ovechkin or whatever, it really doesn't matter how talented you are as an 18-year-old.
Yeah,
you're pretty friggin' clueless. You are. You're clueless as to what it takes to play in the best league in the world. Yeah. So you need someone who is going to shepherd you through that process. Yeah. And I think he's a really good guy to be able to do that. I think the good thing about the Montreal Canadiens is they're saying, we don't have to win. Yeah, we could finish 32nd overall again next year. Yeah. That's okay. Yeah. That's okay. And there's no slapdash, kind of we're 1 or 2 trades or a free agent signing away from, contending here. Yeah. No. We're gonna do this right. Mm-hmm. And they should be doing it because they've got carte blanche. Yeah. Jeff Gorton and Kent Hughes have a honeymoon period here, where there's not a lot that they can do wrong.
There's celebrity mashup
what Steve. What's that?
Hugo.
Nice.
Hughes Gordon. Yeah.
Hughes Gordon, not bad.
Hugo is what the kids are calling him.
Nice.
Yeah.
But it's like what Steve Yzerman had in Detroit.
Yeah.
And he used it.
Yeah.
And he built up their prospect system, and he got a bunch of young players, and now slowly but surely, we are going to see the fruits of that. We're going to see that bear fruit.
Totally.
So I really think that for this team at this time, where this team is, I think it's a really good fit.
I mean, you turn around and you say, best case scenario, he becomes the kind of coach that wins you games. Worst case scenario, we already know that right now, currently, with no improvement, he is already the kind of coach that helps players progress.
Yeah.
So worst case scenario, he helps develop your players, and then you say, well, thanks for that, Marty, and then you hire another coach.
Yeah.
Best case scenario, he grows with the team, and I
think that's a very important point.
Yeah.
Is he's going to get better. Whoops. he's going to get better too.
Yeah.
Like he's going to become a better coach.
Yeah. Well, I said to you this morning.
He's going to improve along, like incrementally, you would think, along with the group of players that is going to take them to where they want to go.
And the thing is that Montreal is developing an analytics department. They're developing a sports science department.
They've hired a guy.
Yeah.
That's to say they've hired a guy.
Look, listen, if they had 0 guys before and they have 1 guy now.
Yeah.
Like that is literally more than 1 million times the amount of people that they had, right? Yes. So math is fun.
Yeah.
My point is that he's going to be surrounded by people that will help him achieve that success. Mm-hmm. And a guy like Marty St. Louis, to me, strikes me as being self-assured enough to accept the help when it's there.
Yes.
And so, I mean, what did I say to you this morning? I said it'll be interesting to see what he does coaching when he's had more than 5 minutes to think about coaching.
Yeah.
Hey, Marty, you want to come coach the Habs? Sure, I'll think about what to do on the drive over.
Yeah. I'm going to go home. I'll ask my wife what she thinks.
Yeah,
and then
I got a 4-hour drive from Vermont or wherever he was living at the time.
Yeah.
And,
Connecticut, I think.
Yeah. Connecticut, yeah. And I'll think about what to do, by the time I get there.
Yeah.
So, I think we're on the same page there with Marty St. Louis. You mentioned him now, so why don't we just go to John Tortorella in Philadelphia?
Well, I mean, I look at the Tortorella, the DeBoer, the Cassidy. Is there anybody else that I'm missing?
No, those are the 4.
Okay, well, I look at that, and the first thing I think of is, the recycling of coaches is alive and well in the NHL. It's very alive and well.
Yep.
I mean, John Tortorella is Tampa, New York, Vancouver, Columbus. Am I missing anybody?
Those are the ones that I can think of.
Yeah, so he's on his 5th team.
Yeah.
But to me, I mean, this is another one where it's a great fit.
Yeah.
I mean, this team has no identity.
Okay.
This team has no identity other than they suck. Like they have no identity, right? And their young players have really stalled. Ivan Provorevs, the Travis Konechny's, these guys have really, like, if there is a team that needs someone to come in and kick ass, it's the Philadelphia Flyers.
The most important prospect that they have, my opinion, is Carter Hart. Mm-hmm. And you put Carter Hart behind a John Tortorella defensive system, such as what Elvis Merzlikins was the beneficiary of.
Yeah.
And you watch him regain that confidence and start to thrive.
Right. And
you want a bold prediction? Carter Hart's in the Vezina voting next year.
Oh, wow. Okay.
There's my what's his name that was injured all year that they got from the defenseman that was injured all year. They got in a trade last year. The Philadelphia Flyers.
Oh, yeah. Ryan Ellis.
Ryan Ellis. Right. Yeah, that they got from the...
You got to stop. Like, it's June 21st, and you're pulling this?
What am I pulling?
I can't remember that stuff.
Anyways, what I'm saying is that you bring in a healthy Ryan Ellis.
Yeah.
Tortorella implements his system. Ivan Provorov takes a step. Carter Hart's able to take a step. Between Carter Hart being able to take a step and the team taking a step, meeting halfway, that to me screams Vezina candidate.
I wonder how Cam Atkinson is feeling right now. Like, you're shitting me.
Yeah.
Really? No, but to me, it's like...
Guy's like a bad virus. Yeah.
To me, it's like if there's a team that needs a massive shakeup out of the complacency and like I just feel like Philadelphia is like it's like man, we're good at losing.
Yeah.
Boy, have we ever learned how to lose. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if there's any team that needs that kind of injection, it's that team. And who knows? Who knows? He's he'll probably have a 4-year deal and he'll probably have a 3-year shelf life. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's always like that, right?
It's the Grateful Dead too. 9-mile skid on a 10-mile ride. That's what he is. Yeah. Honestly, though, the thing about Torts, and we've said it about Daryl Sutter, the thing about Torts is that, yes, he's extremely old school, but he is not closed-minded to some newer ideologies.
And I think the edges have been smoothed a little bit. No, I do. I think he's been humbled a few times.
I do. I agree with you.
I think, because, I mean, if you talk to the guys in Columbus, he was very accommodating there.
A lot of players love him.
Yeah.
A lot of players love him.
There are players. I talked to Ian Cole. Ian Cole loved playing for John Tortorella. Loved it.
Yeah. And Ian Cole is a good, hard-nosed kind of, lunch pail sort of type player.
Absolutely.
But I mean, there's like, getting the Sedin twins to block shots is like the stupidest thing that anybody could have ever come up with.
Right. Even though Steven Stamkos is blocking shots now. It's stupid. I agree it's stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, don't give away too much. Okay, let's go to Pete DeBoer in Dallas. I really feel like Dallas went out of the frying pan and into the fiery inferno.
Really?
Yeah.
I think they just flatlined. I think they just... Who's the guy that can best fit what we're trying to do here? We've got a veteran team that we think might be able to do maybe come close to doing
oh, thank
something.
God we're going to get like really, Pete DeBoer, he's next,
Yeah.
hey? Wonderful.
No,
that's like firing Bruce Cassidy and bringing back Claude Julien. Like, come on, guys.
It's going to be really interesting in Dallas because I think they've made a statement that they're not ready.
They're not taking a step back.
They're not ready to take a step back.
Yeah.
When the reality is that this is a team that, you've got Jamie Benn who actually had a really good year this year.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah, but I mean, he's fading.
Radulov fell off that cliff that we always expected. Kind of thing. Yeah.
But what I find interesting about the Dallas Stars is they have guys like they have
Robertson,
Wyatt Johnson,
who
led the OHL in scoring in the regular season and the playoffs. They have Logan Stankoven. Who's from the Kamloops Blazers, who had the best points per game in the WHL. They have Maverick Bork.
I can't wait till he comes into the NHL and his nickname is Stanky.
Stanky. Could be Loogie Stanky. and they have Maverick.
We got the Stanky Lube coming up the wing.
They have Maverick Bork. They have Ty Dellandrea. They have some really very, very, very exciting offensive prospects coming up, and
I told you to look at their system. Remember?
Right.
Yeah.
but it'll be really interesting to see how that all meshes together because they are a very defense oriented team. Yeah. And DeBoer is a very defense oriented coach. So are these guys going to be able to come in and be free to be able to make the adjustment to the NHL and be able to do what they can do best? Yeah. Or are they going to be put into the, you got to learn to check and play in your own end for, before we'll give you more than 6 minutes of ice time a game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think it's a really interesting dynamic that's going on there. And it's a 4-year deal again.
Yeah.
And it just, to me, it's...
Probably has another 3-year shelf life.
Yeah. But to me, the statement here is we're not ready to throw in the towel yet.
Yeah.
And it could go one of two ways. Maybe they find another long playoff run in them.
Yeah.
Because DeBoer's been on them and a lot of these players have been on them.
Yeah.
Or they just languish in that mushy middle that doesn't do anybody any good, and you keep trying to just make the playoffs every year.
Show me a good coach, and I'll show you a Jake Ottinger.
Right. Yeah.
But so first thing I got to say about Pete DeBoer, I have a lot of respect for him as a human being.
Yep.
When Colin Kaepernick knelt during the national anthem, Pete DeBoer was asked because Joel Ward was on the San Jose Sharks at the same time, and Pete DeBoer was coaching the San Jose Sharks. Yep. Joel Ward was asked, "Are you planning on kneeling?" And Joel Ward said, "I haven't decided yet." And then Pete DeBoer was asked, how would you feel about this, right? And his response was something to the effect of, "When I was in law school, I specialized in human rights. How do you think I feel about this?" Right?
Yeah.
And it's it was just so it was such the answer was, the hell does this have to be a debate for?
Right.
This guy has a right.
Yeah,
and you're going to ask me, what do you think? You're going to trample his rights?
Yeah.
No, I don't think I will.
There were coaches, and
of course there were coaches that did, and Kaepernick's still not
and the
playing.
guy we just talked about, guy that we just talked about was one of them.
Tortorella.
Tortorella was adamantly against it.
Right. And I also worked briefly with Pete DeBoer's nephew.
Oh, okay.
Super, super nice guy.
Really cool then they're going to win the Stanley Cup in 2 years.
So all of that nice things to say about Pete DeBoer, I think he's a dinosaur of a coach.
Okay.
Just like we watched Claude Julien have a slight resurgence in Montreal and then kind of, like fall off the wagon again and kind of go back to his old ways and really kind of coach against the grain, but like not in, whatever, right?
Yep.
Just like we saw that with Claude Julien, I think that we're seeing that with Pete DeBoer. I think that he's going to have to really rethink his ideology in coaching if he's going to have a lot of success. I think that he will have some success.
Yep.
It's a good team with an excellent goaltender. Yep. I think that he will have some success. I'm not going to, say that he won't, but like I said, I think, I'm not hugely sold on Pete DeBoer.
Okay.
I think he's a good guy.
I don't think you're alone in that assessment. I think that you would have some people that would agree with that.
Yes, I would agree that there are people that would agree. Final coach, this one I'm very high on, and I love the fit. Oh, man, do I love the fit. Bruce Cassidy for the Las Vegas Golden Knights.
Well, what I will say about Bruce Cassidy and the Las Vegas Golden Knights is if he just comes in and does one thing.
Yeah.
This team as good as this team has been over the years, their power play has sucked.
Yeah.
Like it's been terrible.
Yeah.
So if he can come in and fix that'll be worth the hire right there.
You've got to ask yourself, I just thought of this, right? Habs guy, cover the Habs, all the rest of it. How has Pacioretty been one of the best offensive players in the NHL for like 10 years? And I don't think he's ever once been on a good power play. Like once.
Yeah, really, eh?
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that funny? Because the power play in Montreal was terrible.
Yeah, it's almost as bad in Vegas.
And you're right. It's one of the worst. It's like 29 or something like that in the league in terms of the clip that it's producing at. And you've got to think, Pacioretty, for much of this year, when he wasn't injured, was like leading the league or top 3 in the league for goals per game. Mm-hmm. So when he's there, he's playing exceptionally well.
Yeah.
And yet still can't sort it out on the power play. It's so bizarre. What do you think's harder? 5 versus 5 scoring or power play scoring?
Yeah.
Wait
a minute.
Let me put on my old thinking cap for a second there. Yeah. So I agree with you. If Cassidy can figure out the power play, which it wasn't a world-beating power play in Boston, I remember, but it was pretty good.
A couple of years, it was like top 5.
Oh, really?
Like
I thought it was top 10.
His first couple of years there, well, you could check, but I think it was his first couple of years there.
Yeah.
It was like right there.
Yeah.
It was like right there. And then it was sort of middle of the pack. But I mean, I'm sure Vegas would we would kill for 15th overall.
I know.
We'd kill for that.
I know. If I had a nickel for every Habs article I read that said, if we just had a league average power play.
Right.
If I had a nickel for that, Ken, I wouldn't be sitting here doing a podcast with you. I'd be out on my
No, you would. No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't.
No?
You'd be here doing that because you're really passionate about this
It's
stuff.
very true.
You're very passionate.
It's very true.
But we'd have we'd have a way nicer studio. We'd have way better equipment. You'd be able to afford a good haircut. That kind of stuff.
I try to act aloof, but truly, this podcast is the wind that fills my sails.
It's the wind beneath your wings, as Bette Midler would say.
Yes, well, I decided
it's the wind beneath your friggin' wings.
I decided to mix metaphors.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. So on the flip side of I couldn't think of another metaphor to mix there. Never mind.
Okay.
Look, wow. Bruce Cassidy.
Wow.
Just thud. Yeah, just thud as I hit the ground there.
Yeah, you get a lot of crickets in your backyard right now.
Where?
Yeah.
Bruce Cassidy, he just, Pete DeBoer really brought Vegas away from what I think was successful for Vegas.
They weren't overcoached. They weren't overcoached.
Yeah.
Gerard Gallant does not overcoach.
No, we've seen that.
Like he lets his players do what they're good at doing.
Yeah. And so Bruce Cassidy, I really feel like he brought Vegas away from what made them successful.
No, Peter DeBoer brought Vegas. Yeah.
Brought Vegas away from what made them successful. And that's why I feel like he might be kind of, a little too, you know, some of these coaches, especially when they've been around for a little while and they've had a lot of success doing the same thing for like 15 years, they're a little high on their own supply. You know what I mean? They're kind of drinking their own Kool-Aid at that point, right?
Right.
It wasn't technically Kool-Aid.
So they're reading their own press clippings. That's what people say.
Yes, exactly.
But I think too, what Bruce Cassidy brings in is that this guy is not uncomfortable going into a room of elite players and telling them this is how we have to do things and this is what you have to do to be better and this is how we're going to do it and finding that balance. Like,
I'm sorry, are you Jack Eichel? That doesn't sound like Patrice Bergeron.
No, but he's coached Bergeron, he's coached Marchand, he's coached Zdeno Chara. He's coached some very high end, Pasternak, some very high end players. Yeah. So he can walk in and he's not going to be intimidated by a Mark Stone or a Jack Eichel or an Alex Pietrangelo or whatever next shiny new thing comes along that they're going to pick up in free agency or trade, So
I think and the thing with Pete DeBoer was that the system kind of turned. It was a camel. You know, a camel is a horse designed by a committee. Right?
Okay. Yeah.
It was a camel. It wasn't really that great defensively, and it wasn't really that great offensively. And it was in the desert. It wasn't really that great offensively. It just was kind of like, it just wasn't really anything. Like Leonard wasn't really able to thrive under it, and we've seen Leonard thrive under many, many different types of systems. So the fact that he wasn't able to, we've seen him thrive in Chicago with complete defensive nightmare, and we've seen him thrive in the Islanders, the best defensive system in the league.
Right.
The way I look at it is that if there's one goalie that we can be fairly sure can thrive under most systems, it's Robin Leonard.
Yeah, but what we can't be sure of is his health.
No, of course not. But what I'm saying is that
he may not ever be healthy.
Well,
and therein is like, that was the huge part of the problem in Vegas this year.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you judge what they were able to accomplish and weren't able to accomplish when you've just been like, when the hockey gods have just said, we got it in for you this year.
Death's finger.
Yeah, we have it in for you this year. Yeah. So interesting.
Anyways, I love Bruce Cassidy, love the hiring, and I think that he's just like him in Vegas, like that. We'll see how the season goes, and we'll see how people's health are, but that could be a Stanley Cup winning formula.
Yeah. Yep.